Joel had a great time today. You know, the fish condition wasn't really what we expected. You know, we had a lot of wind there that was not called for. I don't believe seeing a forecast no high wind like we had today because it was white capping out there. But we caught crappie, and I appreciate you giving me a good time today, and I enjoyed it and had a great time with you. Every time we go fishing, even the weather conditions is tough, we always catch fish, and that's due to your knowledge of the lake and what to do.
Well, you know, if we fish hard and don't give up, that's a big plus. I learned that early, but yeah, it was a lot of wind for mid-July, a lot of wind. It's not typical. And fishing offshore like we were fishing today, it makes it tough with these little light baits that we're using, like a 1/16 ounce little jig head and little 2-inch grub on there. And you know, it really made a difference today. We noticed, we don't always notice this, because usually if they're biting good, they'll bite about anything, these crappie. But today they wanted something blue and chartreuse, or like you have black and blue and chartreuse, and they really wanted a slow retrieve. We had to keep that bait down, and that was the problem with the wind.
Right.
You know, I don't think the wind messes up the fishing. I actually believe it helps fishing a lot. But when you've got this light line and these little jigs like this, 15, 20 mile an hour wind, it is just so hard to keep that bait down in the strike zone, because that is very critical that you get that bait down to them fish.
Exactly.
And a slow, steady retrieve. You know, a lot of casts we made, we had 3 to 5 feet of bow in the line, and by the time we realized we had a bite, maybe the fish had let go of it.
Exactly. And that's what I found out about this color right here, this black, blue, and chartreuse is what worked for me. And a lot of people get hung up on a jig when it's got dual colors like that. And what I found for me it works is whenever I hook the jig, that I always keep the curl up.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of people try to put the blue on the bottom and the black on the bottom, but I always follow the curl with the hook. Is that what you do?
Yeah, always. The tail, that tail needs to be turned the same way the hook is, and it won't twist your line. And that tail acts like a keel because of the lowest part of it's down on the bottom. And if your line is twisted up, you never catch as many fish. You can't even feel a strike because it's like a spring. So that is a very good tip for the viewers out there to always rig that. No matter if it's a big grub or a small grub, you want to have that tail turned just like that hook. And you know, your lure runs straighter.
Right.
It's a big plus. I always do that too.
Well, you know, you talk about that bow and line. You know, when I was casting, I had that big bow on my line. This is the first time I used this rod in this outfit. This Temple Fork Outfitters rod right here was very sensitive for me, is that when I got that tap or that thump on my jig, even though I had that bow on my line, I could feel it. It gives me a chance to load up the fish and get the slack out of the line, and you didn't even have to have a hook set. And the bite was so slow and sluggish, but I contributed a lot of my fish I caught today with, you know, the lure, but also the rod just for the sensitivity it has.
Yes, and I always believed in crappie fishing. You know, I never use heavier than 6-pound tests. We were using 4-pound tests today, ultralight action 6-foot rods, and a slow retrieve.
Right.
Light line. I think light line is very critical.
And I'll tell you what I like today. We cast, and we did do vertical jigging, and that's a technique I haven't done. And I learned that from you today, and I learned how good it can be.
Yeah, casting, you see a lot of fishermen fishing vertical, straight down over top of the fish, but you know, crappie in hot weather, I've always found that they really bite it if you're casting and retrieving, because they tend to suspend a little bit, and you're covering that suspended water column a lot better. Right. I sure enjoyed the day, Neil.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you, Joel.